Hey, what's up, everyone? Ethan Young over here, career coach, former Scotiabank intern, and current software consultant at Oracle. I help people land their first jobs or move into higher paying jobs. Today, I want to talk about the fact a lot of people have been asking me lately, Ethan, how do I get referrals? And I tell them how to get referrals, and they say, oh, but I don't. I'm too scared to ask for a referral. I don't know how to go about that process. I feel weird asking for referrals. It feels uncomfortable. But let me tell you this, you don't have to explicitly ask for a referral, right? A lot of people don't understand that. You do not have to explicitly ask for a referral to get one. And I'm going to show you the exact framework today as to how you land a referral, okay? The exact framework, okay? Without having to explicitly say the words, can you refer me, right? There is no more need to add that to your dictionary anymore because with this framework, this is a framework I've used to get into companies, right? Right now, I'm planning to move into Big Four consulting. I've already had maybe 7 coffee chats, not that many, only 7 coffee chats, and I've had 5 referrals come in, PwC and Deloitte already coming in. 5 referrals across those 2 firms come in from people from me just using the framework that I'm about to give you today. Okay. So the first thing that I need to really drill into you guys is that when you're having a coffee chat with someone, and this is how you get the referral, by the way, you can't just cold DM people and say, can I get a referral? Right? That doesn't work, at least not in North America. We don't just give out referrals to people we don't know. Referral is really for someone who I like a lot, either a friend or a family member, or someone that maybe I've worked with before, or even someone who has coffee chatted with me. I really can see them being a good fit for this role. I'm more than happy to refer them. Okay. So in order to get people to like you enough to the point where they are offering you a referral and you don't even have to ask them for one, is you have to build rapport. You have to build a connection with them, okay? And a lot of times, right, people will just rely on the script. You might have seen one of my other YouTube videos about how to have a perfect coffee chat. Yes, there are genuine questions that you can ask throughout that coffee chat. And those are good questions to ask to understand how the job actually works. But what I'm telling you today is the actual subcontext. It's the undertone, it's the undercurrent of what should be guiding all of your coffee chats. Because, yes, we want to know about their day to day. Yes, we want to know about what the career progression looks like and what the company culture is like. But at the end of the day, the most important part to having these coffee chats and converting them to referrals is to build a genuine connection with the person. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through basically how to do that in this video today. But the first point in general is to just understand we need to build rapport or connection with someone instead of just relying on a script and getting through those questions. Okay. Build rapport over connection. Okay. Build rapport or connection over a script. So, how do we do that? Well, there is a principle that was founded by Dr. Robert Cialdini, and it's called the liking principle. He found that people tend to like other people and are more likely to say yes to them and be influenced or persuaded by them if they follow these 3 different types of methods. And there are a few other methods as well. I've just kind of filtered them based on what I think is the most important here. Familiarity. Number one, 1A is familiarity breeds persuasion. Okay. So if someone is very familiar with you, whether they've seen you post on LinkedIn quite a bit, they're becoming more familiar with you, they're building rapport with you without even directly talking to you. Or they could be familiar with you through similarities, right? So, for example, if I hop on a call with someone and I found that they were from Spain, okay? And now I've been to Spain before, right? I went to Barcelona and Madrid. So I could immediately bring that up. Hey, I noticed that looks like you lived in Spain for 4 years. I've actually been to Spain. I went to Madrid and Barcelona. Honestly, was an amazing time. The weather there is absolutely perfect. I had paella, which is absolutely delicious. And I had also had horchata, which is a really delicious kind of like sweet drink, which I loved a lot. That might be a statement that I make, which helps to build similarity and familiarity with this person without even really knowing them too deeply. Okay. So anytime you can find a similarity with someone, that's going to build familiarity with them. Okay. Because they feel like you're part of the family, right? Think about the word familiarity. It's family. Family is basically built into there. It's fam, familiarity, family. Okay. So family is someone who you feel similar to, right? You grew up together, right? You probably maybe have the same values to an extent, same opinions to some extent. And in order to get there, you need to have similarities. Okay. So the moment you mention anything about, oh, their travels or where they grew up, and maybe you've been there or you've learned about that place before, it doesn't even have to be about ethnicity and origin. It could be about anything. If you notice that they have a LinkedIn post about biking and you're super into biking, you need to talk about that. Hey, like I noticed that you've been doing a lot of triathlons recently. That's something I'm really trying to get into. I'm really into biking, but honestly, I'm really scared of of swimming and doing a lot of running. What would be your advice on how to get into doing triathlons? They will gladly open up to help you out, even if it's like a formal coffee chat, right? Depends on the person, but most of them will. Okay. So familiarity. Find what is similar between you two and hone in on that and use it as leverage, because the more you can speak about that, the more rapport and connection that they are going to feel with you without even deeply knowing you. But it's just human psychology when we tend to find people that have a similar background to us, similar opinions, similar values, similar interests. We tend to want to like them more. Okay. So that's the first point of the liking principle by Cialdini, which you can use in your coffee chats. Okay. So, especially in the first 10 minutes of a coffee chat, usually that's going to be a bit more rapport building, breaking the ice before you start to talk about how to actually how to actually, or before you start talking about their actual role. Okay. So you can use those 5-10 minutes to kind of break the ice and build familiarity, but you can also do it throughout the entire conversation, right? If at some point they mention something about, oh, as part of my role, we travel lots, and I was recently in Italy for an on-site with a client, and it was like my favorite place to go. You can use that opportunity to also say, oh, wow, Italy, I've actually I went there last summer with my family. I agree. It is literally the best place to visit, right? So you can throw in those small statements. It doesn't have to be a long statement or paragraph, but you want to throw in those statements, okay? Number two here, genuine compliments. Okay, you have to be very careful. There's a difference between flattery and simply complimenting someone, okay? Flattery means it's not coming from the heart, it's something very surface level, and you're going over the top with the compliment. Oh wow, you were killing this outfits, and all they're wearing is just like some very basic like shirt and t-shirt and pants. It's like, okay, no, like you're doing too much there, right? It has to be a very genuine compliment about something very specific about them, right? So it could be something like, oh, I noticed that in your career path you completely transitioned from working in the science field for 4 years as a researcher, and then you got your MBA, and then you moved into working in investment banking for 3 years. For me, I find that to be, most people would feel very scared to do something like that. They'd feel like there's too much risk there. They'd be too scared to make that jump, and they would think like, "Oh man, I don't know if I'm good enough to do investment banking. I'm a researcher, right?" But you seem to give me a different vibe. You're the type of person who's very adventurous and loves to take risks. And for me, like I simply just admire that, and I want to say that I really admire your ability to take jumps there and take adventurous leaps there, right? You see how that was a compliment basically about their characteristic, about their attitude towards life, and how they switched from researching to investment banking and got their MBA. Like that's a genuine compliment that I'm making very specific and I'm going to depth on, and basically tell them like, yeah, like I genuinely admire how you're able to do that. Okay. So that's a genuine compliment. Okay. So again, no flattery, no surface level stuff. It's just genuine compliments that you're going to find. And you can riddle these or litter them throughout the conversation. Okay. The last one here is interesting, physical attraction. Why is this on here? It's a coffee chat, Ethan. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Okay. Physical attraction matters, right? Because, and this is a very subconscious thing. If you show up, and I'm not saying you have to look like Zach Efron or Margot Robbie, but you need to definitely maximize or optimize your best ability to look good, right? So that means having some good hygiene, personal hygiene, right? Making sure you brush your teeth every morning and every night or after you eat, right? Having some type of skincare routine, doing something cool with your hair if you want, right? Taking care of yourself, going to the gym, or you don't have to go to the gym, but do something active that's going to get your blood pumping and keep you in good shape, okay? Physical attraction matters, and also how you dress on the coffee chat matters because it's a very subconscious thing that humans have that we automatically tend to like people more if they're a bit more physical attractive, right? It's just it's something that's embedded in our brain from how we've evolved. And it's something that you can use to your leverage, simply knowing this fact to just make sure that whenever you're having a coffee chat, just make sure you're looking good, right? Like clean shaven, whatever your preference is. Make sure that you have some good lighting. Make sure that your audio is coming through clear, right? I don't know if that's not really physical attraction, but that's just to help reduce any friction, and just make sure that you are coming across as well put together, right? Wear something nice, okay? So I definitely do think it matters to come prepared and look good on a call because again, we've evolved to just simply be more attracted to physically attractive people. We're more likely to say yes to them when we ask them for something, or more likely to offer a referral in this case. Okay, so now we get to step two. Let's say you've had this 30-minute conversation. If you can drag it out for longer, right? Like if the vibe is good and you guys end up talking for an hour or 2 hours, go for it because that means you can build more rapport the longer the conversation is. And they're more likely to want to help you at the end, right? So, number two here is funnel to the referral. So, the way that you do that, most people, they're like, I'm just going to ask for the referral. No, no, you don't do that. Okay. You could do that in some scenarios, but most of the time, what I recommend you do is you want to start to show the intent that you kind of do want a referral, but very implicitly, right? So, what you're going to say instead is you'll say you have to frame a question and give some context. But basically, what you're about to ask them is, "What do you think I should do next to get into this position? Like, what would you do in my position, right? Or how did you get into this position, right?" You're basically asking them that question. But before you ask that question, and really, you should be doing this for all of your questions for the most part, is you need to always provide some type of framing and context to the question, right? So, what you want to say is something like, over the past 40 minutes in speaking with you, I've really enjoyed learning about the fact that it sounds like working at Ernst& and Young is a sick place to work. I mean, the projects you told me that you work on they're massive, right? Like these are projects that are truly making a difference in how companies are implementing their software, right? It actually makes a difference. And we can see here, even with the wrong advice, the wrong consulting, a company can completely misuse their software and it can lead to catastrophes from what we've talked about today, right? I honestly find this line of work really interesting. And also, just the company itself, EY, from what you're telling me, I feel like I would be a good fit for the company culture as well. And the role interests me a lot. I'm curious, what do you think I should do next to get into a position like this? Period. That is it. Okay. So the moment you pull this trigger at the end of a conversation, you give all that context, basically qualifying yourself as to why you're a good fit for the role and not just the role, but also the company. And then you ask something like that where you say, "What do you think I should do next to get into this position?" Guys, guess what? If you have built enough rapport over the course of the 30 minutes or 60 minutes or however long the call was, if you have built enough rapport with that person, they will bring it up to you. They will literally either give you a formal referral, which means that they have to go into the HR system, enter your name, and you get a link and you apply differently, or they submit your application for you through the referral portal, or they will give you an internal referral, and they will say, you know what, let me put you in touch. Let me go speak to my senior manager to get you an interview, right? So one of those two things will happen once you pull this trigger and you've built enough emotional connection with them, okay? So again, you want to build that emotional connection with them on the call. If they feel like they're not at that point yet, and you pull this trigger, then they're probably just going to give you a different answer and say something like, yeah, I would just keep networking and make sure that you're doing all the right things. Or they'll give you some vague answer like that. But if they really like you and you've built a really good connection with them, right? You've asked some genuine questions, You've given them some genuine compliments. You're showing up well dressed to the call, showing that you care, and you've built some familiarity and drawn the similarities between the two of you using Cialdini's liking principle. There's a good chance that they will just say something like, you know what? Yeah, I agree. I do think you'd be a good fit for this company and this role. You know what? If you want me to refer you, I'm happy to do that. Let me know. Or you know what? Let me go speak to my senior manager and we'll see what he says. Maybe he can get you an interview, right? One of those two options is amazing, right? And now even if they say something vague like, just keep networking stuff, as long as you say something like, okay, that's all right. Is there anyone else you think I should speak to? At least you can still get redirected to someone else and keep going through this process because someone will like you a lot and they will refer you. But again, you have to make sure that you're asking a lot of genuine questions. You're rehashing what they say to you, right? So if they give you a long-winded answer about their work, you don't just go right into the next question. You have to rehash what they said to you to show that you really learned, what they just told you. Okay. So honestly, this isn't super complex. It's not advanced at all. It's simply just learning how to talk to people, right? The people who can, again, not the person who gets hired for the job is not the best candidate on paper. It's not the person who has the most experience or the coolest resume, the coolest work experience, or the coolest and most amount of certifications. It's the people that can show their value the best and who can also network the best. Okay. And that all happens through communication. So you need to learn how to talk to people. Guys, if you're scared to talk to people, you need to go out there and start talking to strangers. I seriously mean that. Like, you need to get out there. If you're ever in an Uber, go talk to your Uber driver. That's how I started off. If you're on the subway, go talk to someone who's reading a cool book on the subway and ask them what they're reading, right? Like, you need to start talking to people in public, strangers, because if you can do that, having these coffee chats is like second nature. Going into an interview is like second nature. You're not going to feel nervous. You're going to feel excited. So you really need to learn how to talk to people because that will be the biggest thing probably in getting you a job. Okay. So Ethan here, career coach, former Scotiabank intern, and current software consultant at Oracle. I help people land either their first internships or new grad roles, or if you're already working full-time employee, I help you move into a higher paying role. If you need to work with me, if you need some help, you're stuck, just look at the link in the description of this video. It's also in the header of my YouTube channel. But for now, peace out and best of luck.